The Martins had always dreamed of moving to Australia. When they finally landed in Sydney after years of planning, they found themselves captivated by the beauty of its suburbs. After weeks of searching, they stumbled upon a charming Victorian cottage nestled on a quiet street. The house had character. Its white picket fence, ivy-covered walls, and spacious backyard seemed like the perfect place to raise their 3-year-old daughter, Lily. The landlord, Mr. Gregor White, was a silver-haired gentleman who came across as courteous and professional during the initial walkthrough. He spoke passionately about the house's history and assured them that he valued his tenants' comfort. Eager to settle down, the Martins signed the lease without hesitation. But as time would tell, they had signed up for more than just a rental agreement. They had unknowingly stepped into a nightmare. For the first month, life at the cottage was idyllic. The Martins decorated the home with Lily's finger paintings, hosted small gatherings, and grew accustomed to the neighborhood's welcoming atmosphere. However, their bliss was short-lived. One rainy evening, as Lily played with her toy blocks in the living room, the Martins noticed water pooling on the bathroom floor. A pipe had burst, causing a steady flow of water to seep under the tiles. Panicked, they called Mr. White to report the issue. "A burst pipe, you say?" Mr. White replied, his tone cold. "Well, that's on you. Must have been something you did. I'll arrange for a plumber, but you'll foot the bill." Understand. The Martins were stunned but didn't argue. They feared jeopardizing their tenancy, especially with Lily's comfort at stake. Paying for the repairs out of their pocket seemed the lesser evil at the time. As weeks turned into months, Mr. White's behavior became increasingly erratic. He began showing up at the property unannounced, often under the guise of routine inspections. The first time it happened, he startled Mrs. Martin while she was home alone with Lily. "I knocked, didn't I?" Mr. White said dismissively. When Mrs. Martin protested anyway, "It's my property. I have every right to check on it." These visits became more frequent and invasive. Mr. White would wander through the house, criticizing minor things like the way the Martins arranged their furniture or the state of the garden. His comments grew sharper, his demeanor more menacing. The final straw came one evening when Mr. White barged into the house without warning, claiming that the Martins had damaged the backyard fence. His accusations were baseless, but his demands were loud and threatening. "You'll pay for this fence to be fixed," he shouted, pointing a trembling finger at Mr. Martin, "or I'll have you evicted by the end of the week." Little Lily began to cry, clutching her mother's leg. Mrs. Martin, usually calm and composed, felt a surge of anger she could no longer suppress. "Get out of our home," she yelled, her voice trembling with both fear and resolve. "You have no right to treat us this way." Mr. White smirked but left that night. The Martins knew they couldn't endure his harassment any longer. The next morning, Mr. Martin researched tenant rights in New South Wales and discovered the local tenants' union. When he called to explain their situation, a representative listened patiently and assured him they had a strong case. To the Martins' surprise, their story wasn't unique. The tenants' union revealed that Mr. White had a history of harassment, with complaints dating back years. Armed with this information, the Martins decided to take legal action. They filed a formal complaint with the New South Wales Civil and Administrative Tribunal (NCAT), citing unlawful entry, intimidation, and failure to maintain the property. The hearing was nerve-wracking. Mr. White, wearing his usual smirk, dismissed the allegations as exaggerated. However, the Martins presented detailed evidence: photographs of the damaged pipe, dated logs of Mr. White's unannounced visits, and testimonies from past tenants. The tribunal ruled decisively in favor of the Martins. Mr. White was ordered to pay compensation for his misconduct and barred from contacting them directly. The court also flagged his rental practices for further investigation. The Martins moved into a new home managed by a professional property management company. This time, the difference was palpable. The new landlords responded promptly to maintenance requests, communicated respectfully, and adhered to tenant laws. The trauma of their experience with Mr. White lingered, but the Martins channeled it into something positive. Mr. Martin, who had always enjoyed writing, penned an article titled "The Whispering Walls" about their ordeal. It gained traction online, inspiring tenants across Australia to speak out against landlord harassment. The story sparked a broader conversation about the importance of ethical practices in property and facility management. Industry professionals began advocating for stricter regulations to protect tenants, and organizations launched campaigns to educate renters about their rights. For the Martins, their journey became a testament to the power of resilience and community. The walls of their old cottage had whispered stories of fear and frustration, but they left behind echoes of courage, justice, and hope. This story serves as a reminder that while homes are built with bricks and mortar, trust and respect form the foundation of any successful tenancy. Property and facility management perspective. Ethical management practices. Property managers and landlords must adhere to ethical practices, respecting tenants' privacy and legal rights. Intrusive behavior, like unannounced visits or coercion, undermines trust and can result in legal repercussions. Proactive maintenance. A burst pipe, like the one in the story, should have been addressed promptly by the landlord at their expense. Effective property management involves proactive maintenance and timely resolution of issues to preserve the property's value and tenant satisfaction. Communication is key. Clear and professional communication between landlords and tenants fosters a positive relationship. Mr. White's dismissive and confrontational approach highlighted the consequences of poor communication in property management. Tenant education. A well-managed property includes informing tenants of their rights and responsibilities. By understanding these, tenants and landlords can maintain a harmonious living arrangement. Moral perspective. Respect and dignity. The story underscores the importance of treating people with respect, regardless of power dynamics. Mr. White's behavior violated basic principles of respect, leading to unnecessary conflict. Standing up for justice. The Martins' decision to take legal action highlights the moral responsibility to stand up against injustice. By doing so, they not only saw justice for themselves but also helped protect future tenants from similar harassment. Empathy and fairness. Landlords must show empathy and fairness in their dealings. Understanding the tenant's perspective can prevent disputes and create a supportive environment. Legal perspective. Tenant rights. Under New South Wales tenancy laws, landlords are required to give proper notice before entering a rental property. Mr. White's unannounced visits were clear violations of these laws. Duty of care. Landlords have a legal duty to maintain their property in a habitable condition. By refusing to fix the pipe, Mr. White failed in this duty, leaving himself vulnerable to legal action. Harassment is illegal. The repeated intimidation and threats made by Mr. White constituted harassment, which is prohibited under tenancy laws. Tenants have the right to live in a peaceful environment free from such behavior. Tenant advocacy organizations like the Tenants Union play a crucial role in educating and empowering tenants to take legal action when their rights are violated. Lessons learned for property managers and landlords: respect tenant rights and adhere to legal obligations. Invest in professional property management training to handle disputes constructively. Understand that good tenant relations contribute to the long-term success of property investments. For tenants, educate yourself about your rights and responsibilities as a tenant. Document incidents of harassment or neglect to strengthen your case. If legal action becomes necessary, seek support from tenant advocacy groups when facing challenges. For the industry, ethical property and facility management should be the standard. Regular training and certifications can help maintain professionalism. Governments and regulatory bodies must enforce stricter penalties for harassment and negligence to protect tenants. For society, stories like the Martins highlight the importance of creating awareness about tenant rights. Advocacy for fair housing laws and tenant protections can reduce cases of landlord harassment. The story of the Martins serves as a powerful reminder that mutual respect, professionalism, and adherence to the law are essential in property and facility management, creating a win-win for both landlords and tenants. If you find this story enlightened, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel for more content on property, facility, and real estate management business tips. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. God bless you.